presentation of Sports Talk Radio.
It's this man. It's the compassion. It's the dignity. It's the wisdom. It's the horse sense of the guy.
You know what? This is crap. We're going to stop this.
I can't stand it. Run it again. Huddle up and run it again.
We're rolling now.
I think so.
Microphones are on.
Marker 8-10, go.
The Aggies.
Merrill for the lead. He's got it!
The Jazz.
Stopped him. Open three. Yeah!
The high schools.
Boswell's going to take it on the quarterback draw. He's to the 30, the 25, makes a move to the 20, 15, 10, 5. He's into the end zone.
If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it.
Number 4 of my best non-sports sports. Wife carrying.
I beg your pardon?
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Ajay Salvesen.
Because what you're really saying when you're using all this blabberish is, Ajay, you were right and I was wrong. That's what I'm hearing from you.
106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome on in to the Full Court Press. Thanks for tuning in and joining us. I'm flying solo today. Ajay is off with the USU women's basketball team, but a lot of things to get through today. Awards, recognitions, votes. Really exciting weekend for Utah State athletics, so we'll get through that. Love to get your comments on it as well. 435-339-0321 to join in on the Guild Mortgage text line and weigh in on some of the things that happened over this past weekend. Big win on Friday for Utah State men's basketball. Nice dominating performance for Utah State football on Saturday. And starting to get some recognition from some individual performances and team performances as well. We'll hear from Coach Blake Anderson, Philip Paya, Quazell White. They met with media earlier today, so hear from them a little bit later on in the show as well. So a lot of different things we want to get through. And as always, love to get your participation and your feedback. Makes a big difference on the show, having you guys chime in on the events from the past weekend and what's going on today. So I'll also look at the Utah Jazz. I don't know what's going on with the Utah Jazz. There's something fundamentally not quite right. I know they're trying to change a few things about how they do things, and so maybe it's just that's all that it is, taking the team some time to adjust to a new style. I don't know, but they've dropped a couple of games here that they've struggled with that they normally probably shouldn't be. So we'll dive into that a little bit as well coming up. So, but first things first, let's start off with some of the recognitions and honors being handed out today. And first of all, I want to start out with football. And Devin Tompkins, he did not receive the Offensive Player of the Week recognition for what he did at San Jose State, even though he continues to play incredible football. But that honor went to Charles Williams instead at UNLV. And it's kind of hard not to give it to that guy. 266 yards and 3 touchdowns in a victory over Hawaii. So kind of hard not to give that recognition to him, but Devin Tompkins is basically one game away from breaking the Utah State record. But what he's been doing all season long is phenomenal. It's incredible. And because of that, he's been on some watch lists, but now it's becoming a little bit more refined and defined as to his level of greatness. And he's been named as a semifinalist for the Biletnikoff Award. Now, there are only 10 that are in these semifinalists, and that award goes to the most outstanding receivers, not specific to wide receiver. It could go to a tight end. It could go to a running back who catches the ball out of the backfield. Any position who catches the ball. So it's a little kind of a broad definition. And Devin Tompkins is one of 10 is now recognized as a semifinalist, and for good reason. He leads the nation in receiving, 144.1 yards per game. He leads the nation in all-purpose yards at 169.9 per game. He's 8th in the nation in receptions at 7.7 per game, and he's 16th in receiving touchdowns with 8. He also leads the nation with 8 100-yard receiving games so far this year. He's had 6 in a row. He's also the only player in the nation with 5 games of 170-plus receiving yards. I mean, the guy is playing just outstanding, phenomenal football for USU. Now, San Jose was trying to bracket him and take him away from Logan Bonner. And so Derek Wright got some great opportunities. I think we saw some Brandon Bowling get involved. We saw the tight end, Carson Terrell, get involved a little bit. And then eventually, you can't keep Devin Tompkins down for too long. Eventually, he found the ball and made big explosive plays again for Utah State. Took the top off of their defense and made some incredible catches, as he is prone to do week in and week out. But for Tompkins, as mentioned, one of 10. So here's who he's going up against. Jordan Addison at Pittsburgh, David Bell at Purdue, Jahan Dotson at Penn State, Josh Downs at North Carolina, Drake London at USC, Chris Olave at Ohio State, A.T. Perry at Wake Forest, Jareth Stearns at Western Kentucky, and Jamison Williams at Alabama. So outside of Devin Tompkins, Jareth Stearns is the only other non-P5 guy being recognized and on this list. So odds kind of stacked against him a little bit, but certainly proving that he belongs on that stage and as a semifinalist. Now, the award, the finalists, there'll be 3 finalists. It'll be narrowed down on Monday, November 23rd. So really, Devin has one more opportunity to impress this committee from the Tallahassee Quarterback Club Foundation about why he should be not just a finalist, but an award winner. But because this weekend is really kind of his last chance to be narrowed down as a finalist, because that'll be named a week from today. And then the winner will be announced on December 9th. They do that Home Depot College Football Awards, where they give out all the different awards and to all these great, outstanding players for various different positions and what they've been able to do. So Devin Tompkins is in that discussion. First time an Aggie has been named as a semifinalist since Kevin Curtis back in 2001. And there are a lot of similarities for what Devin Tompkins is doing with Kevin Curtis. He's been chasing Kevin all season long, and he is very likely to surpass Kevin Curtis in his single season record at Utah State. In fact, he just needs like 91 more yards to pass Kevin Curtis. And so he has caught 146 passes for 2,256 yards in his career. He ranks 7th all-time in school history, receiving yards, 8th all-time in receptions. And the school record for receiving yards is 2,943, set by Kendall Smith in the mid to late 80s. School record for receptions was set by Kevin Robinson in the early 2000s. So Devin Tompkins is the 11th player in school history to post 2,000 receiving yards or more. First time since Kevin Robinson was able to do that back in 2007. So pretty phenomenal season that he's put together, and very close to surpassing Kevin Curtis for the single season record. And incredible what he's doing at that 5'8" frame, right? I mean, he's not a big man, 155 pounds, but the way he goes up and high points a ball, is able to go out and fight for the reception is absolutely incredible. So great honor for him being recognized as a semifinalist. In fact, one of his teammates, Quazell White, talked a little bit about Devin Tompkins, and so did Philip Paya. They weighed in on what type of season he's having and what kind of an impact he's having on their team individually. But White also talked about Logan Bonner, and certainly a wide receiver can't do much if the ball's not thrown his way. So interesting comments earlier today from Quazell White about the two offensive studs for Utah State in Logan Bonner and Devin Tompkins.
First off, both of them are absolutely amazing. I love playing with both of them. Logan, he's tough, tough as nails, man. This dude, you see him game after game get knocked down, and sometimes it look like, oh, you don't know if he's going to come back in, but he always comes back in, and he kills it every time. And Devin, he's amazing as well. I've never seen a receiver his height play the way he does. It's amazing just seeing him do what he does. As Phil mentioned earlier, he plays like he's 7 feet tall, and you don't see that often with guys his height. So it's amazing to see a walking highlight reel every Saturday.
A walking highlight reel. That is a great description of how Devin Tompkins approaches the game and what we see him do every week. And as Quazell kind of referenced, Philip Paya had some comments about Devin Tompkins, and he may be small in stature, but he does not play like it.
The guy plays like he's 7 foot tall, man. He's running on the field, making plays. It's ridiculous. Every time I see a great play from him now, it's just like I'm not even shocked anymore. I just expect it from him.
I mean, it's kind of an embarrassment of riches, right? I mean, the type of catches that he makes and Derek Wright makes, it's like we just kind of get used to that. But those are crazy what they're able to do. Especially, I mean, Derek Wright had a catch where it was bombed to the end zone. It's thrown up there. He's behind the defensive back, makes the adjustment to cut in front, and knows it's a little bit short, and is able to make that adjustment to position himself in front of the defender and still come down with the catch. Pretty incredible. How these wide receivers have learned to adjust to how Logan Bonner throws the ball. Certainly that credit to them individually for their own personal athleticism and ability to track the ball properly. But also, I think you deserve some credit for what Kyle Cephalo's been able to do and how he coaches the wide receivers at Utah State and getting a lot of everywhere that guy goes, wide receivers get big-time recognitions. So it's not really surprising that it's happening here in Logan as well. To our text line, 6211. Love your new intro. Thank you, 6211. Ajay deserves all the credit for that. Unfortunately, he's not here to hear that, receive that personally, but I'll be sure to pass that along. 9310 chiming in. Were the last three quarters from the San Jose State game the best the Aggies have had this season? I think so. Boy, hard to argue against it. The first quarter, the Aggies spotted San Jose 14 points with the pick six and then the fumble that gave them a very short field. But I think that it would be easy to say that probably the best defensive game that we've seen out of Utah State, almost a complete game. I mean, it's hard to hold the defense, give them any blame for kind of that short field and what they gave up offensively that gave that one touchdown for San Jose. But the way they were getting after both Starkel and Nash, they limited there was like no run game whatsoever. It's just the pressure they were able to put on the quarterback and shutting down the run game. They gave up 12 yards rushing, 12 yards net. So certainly some of the sacks go against that. And there were a lot of, not a lot, but there was a good number of tackles for loss for Utah State. There were 8 total, but 12 net rushing yards. Absolutely phenomenal. So great performance by that defense. And then that offense really just came alive. A huge third quarter for Utah State. Second quarter, 24 points in the second quarter. Incredible. I mean, that offense is rolling. The defense is coming alive, and it's connecting. They've gotten better every week with stopping the run and getting after opposing quarterbacks. This week you're going to need that again. They've got another good quality running back that they're going to be facing in Xavier Valladay, but that Wyoming offense has been really hit and miss. Chambers has been hurt off and on. When he's healthy, he's a really dynamic quarterback, but considering, look, the San Jose State was favored by 4.5 this last Saturday. What Utah State was able to do to go in there to San Jose and knock off the defending champions in the way they did, and to put this many points on San Jose as they did. Nobody has been able to score that many points on San Jose all year. USC, they only scored 30. Granted, there's been some changes at USC since, but early in the year, USC was a top 25 team. They were number 15 at the time. But in their losses, USC scored 30. Western Michigan put 23 on them. Colorado State, 32. And San Diego State, 19. Granted, they're not really known for their offense, but they've never given up anything close to what Utah State offensively was able to do to them. So big time credit for that offense continuing to attack. And certainly I think you have to give a lot of credit to that defense too, and how they were disruptive. They created turnovers and takeaways, and really made San Jose gun shy, and made things a lot easier for Utah State in general in that game over the weekend. So certainly, as we mentioned, recognition to Devin Tompkins and his personal recognition as a Biletnikoff semifinalist. We mentioned, we heard from Philip Paya. We heard from Quazzo White about what he's been able to do. But, Anderson as well, Coach Anderson, with a lot of praise for him as well. And just overall, complimentary of the team and how well they've been able to do in their offense, and just not getting down on playing from behind. The way they've been able to still stay in there and have confidence to keep rolling. And here's some of his, kind of wrapped up in some of his comments in his opening statement with the media earlier today, kind of recapping that great win on the road at San Jose late on Saturday night.
Huge road win, big win, probably collectively the best game this group has played since the beginning of the season. Would have loved to have seen that game play out without the 14-point spotted first quarter, but the turnovers, their defense is really good. They created opportunities, and they get credit for those. But beyond proud of how the guys responded to go on, really, and just play those guys like we did from that point on. I guess 48-3 to hold them to the total we did defensively, and to be able to finish in the end zone the way we did offensively. And really, honestly, even special teams, nothing flashy, but very, very sound game. No big mistakes, good coverage, punted them inside the 10. A lot of positives. Really felt like we've seen improvement in all three phases week to week, and we needed it most in this particular game on the road against the defending champs, and that's exactly what we got. So proud of the progress that we've made, how the guys have just continued to battle to get better. The energy on the sideline was amazing all night. If you've seen the videos of the dudes dancing, I mean, they're just having a blast playing ball with that together. And I love that about this group. I think they deserve it with all they've been through and the work they've given us. It fills your heart to see them have fun. And the fact that we're competing here for some very meaningful games to finish this season is even more exciting for them.
It is awesome, and that was fun watching the players celebrate and have fun on those sidelines after creating some turnovers and some big plays. But can they continue to prove the early season doubters wrong? Granted, they've definitely exceeded anything I ever thought that would happen for this season. I'm happily to admit that I was off on what I thought from this team, what they could do. They've exceeded a lot of that already. And looking at the overall, Now that the weekend is done, and we'll go through some of the other scores in the Mountain West, but Utah State continues to do what is necessary to maintain their position atop the Mountain Division. They're 5-1 right now in conference, 8-2 overall. They are number one of the Mountain Division without any other tiebreakers or anything out there in sole possession. On the other side, San Diego State is also in sole possession of the top of the West Division after they defeated Nevada. So it's moving towards a Utah State-San Diego State showdown in the conference title game if everything else continues to play out, if neither team loses in their final two games. But actually, San Diego State, they have a bye week. No, sorry, that's they do play UNLV this week and then Boise the following week. Maybe it was Fresno State. I was thinking it has a bye week this week. But regardless, they should be favored in both of their last two games. But San Diego State and Boise State, that'll be a tough matchup. And that'll be at Carson, California. Technically, it's a San Diego State home game. But still, that'll be a tough one for them to finish that out. And if by chance Boise State wins that game, interesting scenario to try to figure out who will represent the West, because you'll have three teams with two losses. But we're not going to get into the tiebreaker scenarios for the West Division because it's not quite as important just yet, and there's more time to be played here, more games to be played. But still, Utah State continues to do what's necessary to maintain their position. And this was one of the games early in the year that we thought this is going to be a true test for Utah State to see what kind of team they are going on the road against the reigning conference champions. They've kind of turned some things around there at San Jose. But this season it's been a little bit up and down. You can tell there's uncertainty about the quarterback position there. They've got some great players on defense, but Utah State was able to overcome all of that and win in an incredibly impressive fashion on Saturday night. So with that, there's some other recognition, not just to Devin Tompkins. Take a quick timeout here on the Full Court Press. Utah State is getting votes in both polls for what they've been able to do this season. Is it just in time? Is it a little bit late? Is it too early? But we'll debate that coming up here on the other side. We'll also continue to hear from Blake Anderson, Philip Paya, and Quazell White as they met with the media today. We'll also look at the other things that happened in the Mountain West Conference over this past weekend. It's not just football getting recognition, basketball getting some recognition too. And a great win for Utah State on Friday afternoon. They're in Annapolis, Maryland against Richmond. Get some updates on that and kind of what's ahead for the USU men's basketball team. Utah Jazz dropping 4 of their last 5. Kind of curious to see what's going on with the Jazz and what's the latest with the NBA. And really kind of a strange weekend in the NFL. We had some blowouts. We had a tie. Kind of a strange way some of these games played out. Some favored teams really fell flat, while others performed very well. So we'll recap that and continue to get your thoughts and your reactions to the weekend. 435-339-0321 on our Guild Mortgage text line.
Crystal Vision, the gold medal winner of Best of Northern Utah, has a deal for you. They need to clear space for their new eyewear lines coming in, which means you can save 40% off of selected styles and brands of frames in stock that will fit your unique style and budget. Take in your current prescription and let Crystal Vision fit you into a new look. Let this be the year your glasses feel like they were made for you. Crystal Vision, on 14th North or online at crystalvision.com.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Look, I admit in the past, we've been a little bit hard on Lewiston for not buying mattresses. All that has changed now. Lewiston has practically written IntelliBed into their city bylaws. This makes us feel like celebrating. Hooray for Lewiston! You're finally sleeping better, Lewiston. We thought that you were all insomniacs. Now we can relax. Good job, Lewiston. I gotta tell you, though, I am concerned about Mendon. My Mattress by the new Walmart.
Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance. Be our guest November 18th, the third Thursday at 7 p.m. to learn all about Medicare and Social Security. Planning ahead will give you the confidence you need to make these important decisions. Come see us November 18th at 7 p.m. at our office by the North Walmart. Call 752-9493. The seminar is free. The information is extremely valuable. Call 752-9493 to RSVP as seating is limited.
Well, what shall we talk about?
You're listening to the Doug Gottlieb Show.
Brave by definition is ready to face and endure danger. Native American Indian warrior, endure or face without showing fear. In an effort to be sensitive towards other cultures, we actually kind of eliminate some of the championing of the culture.
The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
This is Bruce Rigby from Cache Valley Bank. People come to me all the time and say, wow, Cache Valley Bank is growing. We are growing and providing banking services to many communities in Utah and particularly here in Cache Valley. Cache Valley Bank is actively involved in our communities with local people who can make decisions quickly and professionally. We're a community bank and Cache Valley is important to us. Cache Valley Bank, growing, expanding, and proud to have our roots firmly planted in Cache Valley. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
T-shirts are more popular than ever. The one that has the perfect statement or a one-of-a-kind design. They really do make you look. Great Basin Graphics has the best screen printers and equipment creating custom, retail-quality shirts at great prices. Employees look great and clients will always wear high-quality T-shirts advertising your product or service. Great Basin Graphics design, screen print, and embroider everything and anything. Google Great Basin Graphics or visit their new location at 966 West 400 North.
The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Really fortunate. We've had him very engaged in the athletic department for the last 2 years since he did step down. He provides a lot of counsel to me and to our other coaches in the department. He's part of my inner circle of advisors that I lean on for advice on a number of things, and I do expect to get counsel from him during this search process.
That was Jennifer Cohen. Washington Huskies let go of Jimmy Lake, another coach fired before the end of the regular season, and talking about how she's referring to Coach Peterson, who was there and had a lot of success before he stepped down, and they plan on turning to him to get some more advice about their next steps forward. Another week, another notable program looking for a new head coach. Crazy how quickly these things are happening in the middle of the season before the end of the regular season. So another one bites the dust. And there's going to be more attention on Blake Anderson. And why not? I mean, the guy's been a turnaround artist here. Took a team that got one win last year, was embroiled with controversy, and stepped in, quickly established calm, and created a culture of winning and accountability. And, boy, we're seeing the dividends now as Utah State is in the driver's seat to represent the Mountain Division in the Mountain West Conference title game. Now, there are two more games that still need to be played. Utah State has to get past Wyoming first this week and then travel to New Mexico next week. But Utah State and Wyoming Aggies currently, they think they opened as, 7-point favorites? I got to double check this. And now my screen changed. Always got to love that. Utah State opening as currently a 6-point favorite, as the Aggies will host Wyoming on Senior Day, Saturday at 6. That game will be on CBS Sports Network. However, it'd be great to get that stadium full. I mean, it's Senior Day. There's going to be a lot of seniors recognized, not just your traditional seniors, but you've got the super seniors and who really didn't have a great opportunity for a send-off last year. So, great to fill that stadium and recognize what this team is doing this year, but also those seniors who have been through a lot. They've been a part of some really successful times. had some downtime there that was not really great for USU, and then a successful rebound as well. So from what I saw tail end of last week, I haven't been able to check it today, but from what I saw last, there are still a lot of seats available to go see Utah State finish out their regular season at home before they go to New Mexico to finish out the regular season on the following week. So love to see that stadium full on Saturday night. Remind you, if you want to chime in on these things, we'd love to get your thoughts on the Guild Mortgage text line. Got a text coming through from 5879. My prediction was close as far as rankings. USU football is getting recognition way too late. This is an epic coach and staff. I'm afraid we'll lose them to another university for more money. Excuse me. As far as getting the recognition, excuse me, yes, Utah State is getting votes. Finally, getting some votes in both the AP and the coaches' polls. Utah State getting 12 votes in the AP, effectively ranked, I think it's 31st in that poll, and they're also getting in the coaches' poll, getting 9 votes there, and similar, about 33rd, I think is what it is. But Aggies are ahead of Fresno State, who is also getting votes. San Diego State remains in both polls. Actually, they were not ranked in either poll last week, and so they are ranked now. They are ranked 23rd in both. University of Utah also climbs into both polls where they were not ranked previously in the coaches poll or the AP. They were ranked in the college football playoff poll last week, but getting some recognition from both the Associated Press and coaches. So right now, San Diego State is ranked. Utah State is getting votes. Fresno State is also getting votes in the coaches, but not in the AP. So getting votes and getting recognition, was it too late? Is it appropriate? Is it a good time to finally be receiving votes, or too soon? And frankly, I'm with 5879. I think it's a little late. I mean, they should have been getting votes before now, considering what they're doing and how they're doing it. I get it. They're playing from behind a lot, but they're making it pretty regular that it doesn't really matter if they're down early. They figure it out and they take care of business and get the job done. So seems a little late now for being the top team in the Mountain Division with some other good teams with wins over Air Force, who's they're having a nice season. And considering some of the other wins that they've been able to pick up, Washington State, they were competitive against Oregon just the other day. So they've turned out to still be competitive despite some of the drama with their football team and the issues outside of playing football. So Utah State getting recognition. I think it's appropriate now. If they didn't get votes, then we'd all be on our soapboxes screaming loudly that there was injustices. But they deserve to get votes last week, but they absolutely deserve to get votes now this week. More texts coming through. This is from 4086. I don't want to be a downer. I doubt we'll have a full house. I hope you're not a downer. I hope it's better than that. But Utah State has only had one sellout all year, and that was when BYU came to town. A game that doesn't matter for standings. But hope you're wrong. I hope we do get some recognition there for the community to just go out and show their support for this team, the type of season that they've been having, and recognize these seniors for the year and the career they've had. So lots of seats available. Hope you go out and grab them. It'd be awesome to send this team out on the last home game with a huge win. There is still a chance that Utah State could have another home game if Boise State does Utah State a solid and beats San Diego State. The Aggies would host, and the Aggies win out. The Aggies would host the conference championship game in Logan on that first weekend in December. So it's still very possible. But have a great home crowd this weekend would would certainly go a long way to that as well. 2787. Hey, how about Westside football? If they win this weekend, they'll have won 3 state titles 3 years in a row. So far in the state playoffs this year, they have outscored their opponents 95-16. Holy cow. They've won 31 games in a row. That is impressive. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to mention them, and I'm glad you got to it before I did. They've had a phenomenal season, just dominance in every game that they have played. 31 straight. They've not lost a game in 3 years, going for their 3rd straight title. It's kind of a curious time for that championship game. It's Thursday night, 9 o'clock in Pocatello. They're in a Holt Arena. It's a weird time to have the title game. That's a really late night getting back home. But, boy, they deserve every recognition possible. Great program there at Westside High School, going for their 3rd straight title. Great photo gallery on Cache Valley Daily as they beat Bear Lake over the weekend on Friday night. So go check that out if you haven't been able to see that yet. So, yes, absolutely. Everybody should be cheering for Westside. Great year that they've had so far. 9310 chiming in. I think we're getting the recognition right on time. We don't have a marquee win. And that's fair. Considering Utah State had opportunities for marquee wins against Boise State and BYU and didn't. Might say that the Air Force win could be considered somewhat of a marquee, but even then, they're not getting votes. So they haven't defeated a real superior team, not a top 25 team, but they put together a solid season. Washington State currently they are 5-5, 4-3 in conference play. They're right behind Oregon in the Pac-12 North. Of course, that's a pretty messed up division in the Pac-12. But Washington State fighting for bowl eligibility. Aggies, that's probably their most premier win. Air Force, they're 7-3. One of their few losses was against Utah State. San Jose is probably the other bigger win. But again, I get it. That's a good point. It's a fair point. With a marquee win on their resume, Air Force is right now the best win the Aggies have on their resume. Their 2 losses aren't bad losses, and that's another important thing to consider, I think. Boise State, they're bowl eligible now. They're 6-4, playing really good football at the moment. BYU in the top 25. They currently ranked 14th in the AP, 15th in the coaches. So those are your 2 losses against quality programs, but no real marquee wins. I get that. That's fair. But the Air Force one, probably the biggest on the resume at this point. And Blake Anderson actually kind of talked a little bit about that. This is the Utah State football team receiving votes for the first time this year. First time in a little while that USU has received votes in the top 25 poll. But Blake Anderson discussed that earlier today about getting some recognition nationally.
We just talk about trying to win each week. I'm not sure they expected to be an underdog, and we didn't talk about it at all. I just heard a couple guys making comments about it. I never addressed that we were or weren't. I had a lot of respect for the team we're going to play. Did not expect the game to go quite like it did. We got some momentum going and played well, and I think capitalized on some mistakes that they made. But, we're just really trying to focus on 1 week at a time. If we get votes, great. We want to take care of our business, getting the championship game. That's our only focus.
And I love that. That's been very consistent with Coach Blake Anderson, as well as his players. They feed off of that. They follow that very closely, and deservedly so. I actually need to correct myself. I was wrong. I forgot. Utah State did get some votes after their victory at Air Force. They received 2 votes in the coaches' poll that weekend. But Utah State, 12 votes in the AP, which would effectively make them 31st. 9 votes in the coaches, which would put them at 33. But the Aggies have won their last 5 games. They're undefeated on the road, which is incredible. An opportunity to win all 6 coming up in 2 weeks, which I don't think has ever been done for USU. So incredible improvement this year over last. And so with some of these coaching changes that have happened, Blake Anderson's name will be brought up. And who was it that had mentioned that? One of our texts came in. That was 5879, I believe. That yes, it is a great coaching staff, and they've had tremendous success. And will Blake Anderson be mentioned? Absolutely, he should be. Will he go? That I don't know. I can't predict that. I think it would probably be pretty safe to say I probably feel more confident in the belief that some of these assistant coaches will be gone. It'll be hard to keep them. I doubt. I have a hunch. I doubt that Blake Anderson would leave after just 1 year in Logan. Obviously, it's really hard to predict that when there's some pretty notable programs looking for replacements, and some of them have had a few rough years, and will need a replacement. And it's not over yet. We know current vacancies, but some of those vacancies getting filled will create domino effects, and hard to know. Like, there may be some school he's always dreamed about coaching or destination he's always wanted to go, and it may open up and planets align, and it's a great opportunity for him. And no Aggie fan should begrudge him that. The only thing that we could hope for is that whomever replaces him continues the current momentum. But his name should be mentioned as a target and as a potential. You come in and have a turnaround like that? Absolutely. But you hope that he sticks around and wants to stay here and continue what he started and is able to maintain as much of that coaching staff as possible, because it's been an awesome ride for Utah State as this team continues week in and week out to get better, and how they buy into what these coaches are trying to do, especially that defense. And we'll get more into that coming up on the other side. I'd love to continue to get your thoughts, your comments of the weekend that was, some of the recognitions that have coming down for football and basketball for Utah State, the weekend that was for college football, the NFL, and the Utah Jazz in a bit of a early slump after a hot start. And is it time to start panicking and causing concern, or it's just part of their process of developing as a team? We'll discuss that coming up on the Full Court Press, and love to get your thoughts as well on our Guild Mortgage text line 435-339-0321.
My name is Sabrina, and I'm a student at New Horizons Beauty College. I've learned all sorts of things, how to have more patience and understanding with others, but I've also learned a lot of different techniques having to deal with hairstyling, nails, coloring, chemical services, and the most rewarding thing, seeing your improvement and then seeing what you've done to others and how happy it makes them. My name is Sabrina, and I recommend becoming a student at New Horizons Beauty College.
We're right in the middle of holiday season. Most of our focus is on family and friends, as it should be. But don't forget your vehicles during the cold winter months. At Valvoline and Oil Change will make it easy on you to get an oil change, have your vehicle's fluids checked, and if needed, check emissions and renew your registration. All while you sit in your warm car. It doesn't get much easier than that. Valvoline and Oil Change, 695 North Main, across from Angie's.
I'm here with Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical. Jay, I hear your ads for CPAP resupply all the time. What do I need to do to just get that taken care of?
It's easy. We can set up your CPAP resupply within a few minutes. We'll work out all the insurance for you, and then we'll start mailing the supplies straight to your door. You can even chat with a CPAP specialist online. Just visit us at alpinehomemedical.com. We'll have you sleeping better in no time.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
It's the Full Court Press with
Eric Frandsen and Ajay Salvesen.
I will hurt somebody's feelings.
Oh, by the way, I'll be in Cal next Monday and Tuesday, so I'll not be here. I talked to Johnny Yu, and I was like, hey, Johnny, you want to go help out Eric? And he's like, yeah, sure, man. Johnny Yu's going to come help you out. You don't look thrilled about that. Do you want me to tell him no? Next Monday.
Oh, yeah. When are you here? Maybe it's a better...
Oh.
Should be...
Well, are you missing me, Eric? More often. Are you missing me? Huh? You missing me? That's all right. Go ahead and say it. Say I miss you.
weekdays from 4 to 6. 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Colonel? Good morning, sir. I see you found a way to keep our cannon out of the mud.
Pavers, sir. As a mason, I used to lay them for courtyards and patios.
Brilliant.
Thank you. They hold up beautifully no matter how punishing the conditions.
I can see that. Say, after the war, think you'd be available to pave my patio at Mount Vernon?
Stone pavers from Castellite really catch your eye. Do it yourself with the expert help at Castellite. For all your brick, block, rock, paver, and tile needs, go where the pros go. Castellite.com.
The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools, the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Yeah, it was a big Friday around here with Ridgeline getting the 4A football title, their first football championship in their school's short history. West Side with a big win on Friday night, continuing on their string of success, beating Bear Lake in pretty dramatic fashion, just the way they continue to dominate. Really impressive. Great photo galleries of both of those games on Cache Valley Daily. Utah State basketball with a huge win at Richmond against Richmond Friday afternoon. The game was at Annapolis at the Naval Academy. And then Utah State football with a huge win Saturday night at San Jose State on the road. If the Aggies were not favored in that one, it didn't bother the Aggies. Maybe that gave them a little bit extra vinegar in the veins in how they approached San Jose, because that defense just came out on fire against a good, solid San Jose State offense. And the way they've been able to continue to improve in the run defense really has me impressed. Early in the year, Utah State just had to outscore their opponents because they had a hard time slowing them down. But that run defense was always kind of problematic for Utah State. But steadily is improving every week. And after being gashed by some running backs, they have flipped a switch on how well they're doing defensively. Get some comments from Coach Blake Anderson on that in just a moment. But back to our Guild Mortgage text line from 8968. Considering what it looked like at the first of the year and where the Aggies were projected to be, every win is somewhat of a marquee win. That's a great point. They were only favored. They expected to win 3 games. I went back and pulled out the Mountain West Conference preseason poll. Just had me thinking about this earlier today. Aggies have won 8 games already. They were only projected to win 3.5. And needed a reminder about the preseason poll from earlier this season, before the football season really began. Boise State received 23 first-place votes in the Mountain Division, and they were number 1 overall with so many votes. Technically, Nevada would have been number 2. They had received 19 first-place votes for a total of 141 points. Boise State had 148. So if we just go by points, the projected order of finish in the Mountain West was Boise State, Nevada, San Jose State, then Wyoming, then Air Force. That's your top 5. So far, Utah State has taken down 2 of those top 5. And one of those teams, boy, I'd love to have Boise State on the schedule again. I just think the way USU is playing now would be a very different scenario. So many missed opportunities against Boise State, self-inflicted mistakes. But Utah State projected to finish 5th in the Mountain Division, barely ahead of New Mexico. And if you look at the point totals of where people placed everybody, UNLV was going to finish was projected to finish dead last, then New Mexico, then Utah State. And here they are, currently on top of the Mountain Division with an opportunity to play for and maybe even host the conference championship game. Really impressive what this coaching staff has done. And a lot of it because of their the start of the season was great offense. But lately, it's been this defense that's really picked up and been making a huge difference. And coming up, we'll hear from Coach Anderson about that run defense specifically improving, and hear from some of the players as well. Philip Paya weighed in on that, on how that run defense continues to improve for Utah State. Only 12 net rushing yards last week against San Jose. They did a phenomenal job stifling the run against Hawaii. So really impressive to see what they're doing. Quick timeout here and some more thoughts about what Utah State has been doing so far in football. We'll still get into basketball next hour. Utah State getting some recognition for what they were able to do last week. And, continue to look at what's ahead for USU basketball as well. It's all coming up on the Full Court Press.
It started out as free.
But then they said it would only be a few cents a day.
What you're hearing is real, and it may be happening to you.
I pay for streaming video, then the cloud storage, then streaming audio. Where does it end?
It ended up being a lot every month.
This is the sound of nickel and diming syndrome. It's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
I just want to hear my music. Is that so wrong?
There is hope. For millions of people, there's radio.
Radio?
Radio. With 0 down and 0 per month, radio delivers all the news, music, and entertainment you want, when you want it, for free. No usernames, passwords, or Wi-Fi connections required.
Here's my card number. It's 735.
Shh! Don't speak. When you listen to local radio, you'll never need that.
This is so wonderful.
Yes, it is. The cure for nickel and diming syndrome.
Oh, I could use a hug.
It's radio. No subscription required.
If you're thinking about getting engaged this holiday season, S.E. Needham Jewelers is the place to shop for your diamond engagement ring. S.E. Needham's has the largest selection of wedding rings in the area, including hundreds of styles in platinum, white gold, and yellow gold. We import diamonds direct from Antwerp, Belgium, which enables us to guarantee the best price on diamonds. We also offer the most complete warranty and services of any store in the state. Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
This is Nate Lamson with Valley Office Systems. Did you know that Valley Office Systems is a local company with Utah ownership, and we are debt-free with 47 years of industry experience? Valley remains your safe and smart choice for document solutions and all things office. Visit valleyofficesystems.com.
Talking the sports you care about. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
It's been really great for our defense. That's a big point of emphasis for us these past couple of weeks. So, being able to do it in practice, like from the beginning of the year, from the summer, and to finally see it translate into the season and in games is really huge for us. And I feel like the coaching staff has done a great job with pushing us and to making ourselves believe that we can do it out there on Saturday nights.
That's Philip Paya talking about that run defense that's really been improving for USU. Look, they've done a phenomenal job taking that away from their opponents and making them one-dimensional. And then that USU secondary has been coming up, making some big plays. Cash Gilliam, Johnny Carter, Hunter Reynolds, Shaq Bond. I mean, it's a long list of with these impact players for Utah State, what they've been able to do and how they've been able to do it. So it really starts with that push up front, creating chaos and disruption by that front group there. I think you have to include the linebackers in that as well. Justin Rice, Ajay Vongpachon, Kevin Metzenheimer. It's been great to see this team develop and grow into the success that they're having right now. Before we hand it off to Dan Patrick and his Above the Noise segment, just want to remind you that Napa Auto Parts, you know this, they have the best prices on the best parts. And you've got 5 different locations to find that, from Preston to Providence in the Cache Valley. A lot of different things available to you. They've got a Napa oil special on 5-weight 30 motor oil, $19.99 on their synthetic full motor oil. They've got multi-tools. They've got ratchet sets, mechanics tools, everything you're going to need for your vehicle to make sure that it continues to run right, and great savings on things that you're already going to need to make sure that you're protected and running properly as the weather starts to turn and get colder. You don't want to be stuck in the cold. Your engine's not running right. So stop by any of the Napa Auto Parts stores, 5 of them locally owned and operated from Preston to Providence, and they sponsor Dan Patrick Above the Noise. And coming up next hour, we'll get into USU basketball. We'll hear more from Coach Anderson and the players about a great football win. Utah Jazz in a bit of a funk right now. What's going on with them? Is Rudy Gay the answer? We'll debate that as well coming up, and love to continue to get your thoughts and your reactions on our Guild Mortgage text line, 435-339-0321.
It didn't take long for the Cam Newton memories to flood back for Carolina fans. On his first play since signing last Thursday, Newton ran in a touchdown. On his second play, he threw for one. After he got into the end zone, Newton took off his helmet and screamed, "I'm back." He happened to get a penalty, but that's not the point. Who knows if he'll be able to produce at that level like he used to with the Panthers. But the team was fired up, and they took on the NFC-leading Cardinals and took them to task in Arizona. Panthers won 34-10. They're 5-5 and in the playoff picture. We'll see what Newton can do this year. He's only 32. Panthers seem to be open to anything at quarterback. Long way to go, but watching Cam suit up in black and silver and blue was a lot of fun. He should get a chance against his former coach Ron Rivera and Washington next week. All of a sudden, the Panthers have become a much more interesting team. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. In 2021, there are self-driving cars, plant burgers, tourist in space. The least your phone could do is download entertainment in a flash. For that, you should go to AT&T 5G. AT&T 5G is fast, reliable, secure, and nationwide. Want to make sure your phone service keeps up with what you need from it? Get AT&T 5G. It's not complicated.
5G requires a compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Whether you're golfing or working out, my body doesn't recover like it once did. And that's why I'm so thankful for Level Select CBD. I trust Level Select because it's formulated by actual doctors using high concentrations of CBD. I apply Level 3 sports cream to wherever I'm sore and let their proprietary blend of CBD go to work. Go to LevelSelectCBD.com, promo code DP30, $30 off your entire order today. $30 off LevelSelectCBD.com, promo code DP30, not available in Idaho, Iowa, or South Dakota.
Always the best prices on the best parts at your locally owned Preston to Providence Napa Auto Parts. A 5-quart jug of Napa Full Synthetic 530 Motor Oil, $19.99. Heavy-duty Napa 1540 Engine Oil, $12.49 a gallon. A 100-piece screwdriver set, $19.99. Stock up on Blue Heat Ice Melt, 50-pound bag, only $8. A Maxi-Track Remote Control Crawler, $49.99. These deals and a whole lot more at any of the 5 locally owned Preston to Providence Napa Auto Parts.
West Point Dairy Products at Hiram is hiring. West Point Dairy Products has been manufacturing high-quality butter for over 25 years in Cache Valley. They're currently expanding and want you on their growing team. West Point Dairy Products offers competitive wages for entry-level positions starting at $18 per hour, full benefit packages, double time on Sundays, a $2,000 sign-on bonus, and tremendous opportunities for growth. For immediate consideration, call Express Employment Professionals at 435-213-9595.
The home for Sports Talk Radio. KLGN Logan, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
And here's what you need to know.
Baseball's Rookies of the Year have just been announced. In the National League, Red second baseman Jonathan India the winner. And in American League play, it's another Tampa Bay Ray. Outfielder Randy Arozarena is Rookie of the Year. The Tigers agreed to a 5-year deal with lefty pitcher Eduardo Rodriguez from the Red Sox. The Monday Night Football matchup still over an hour away from kickoff. San Francisco winless at home, hosting the LA Rams, who are 7-2 overall, and in fact are undefeated on the road. Washington defensive end Chase Young is officially out for the season. He reportedly suffered a torn ACL yesterday. He'll have knee surgery. Green Bay running back Aaron Jones will reportedly miss 1 to 2 weeks with a sprained MCL. Falcons running back Cordero Patterson could miss Thursday night's game with a sprained ankle. Atlanta will host New England on Fox TV Thursday. Steelers safety Minkah Fitzpatrick was placed on the COVID list. The Dolphins will start Tua at quarterback Sunday. I'm Steve DeSager.
A presentation of Sports Talk Radio.
It's this man. It's the compassion. It's the dignity. It's the wisdom. It's the horse sense of the guy.
You know what? This is crap. We're going to stop this.
I can't stand it. Run it again. Huddle up and run it again.
We're rolling now.
I think so.
Microphones are on.
Marker 8-10, go.
The Aggies.
Merrill for the lead. He's got it!
The Jazz.
Stopped him. Open three. Hit it!
The high schools.
Paulson's going to take it on the quarterback draw. He's to the 30, the 25, makes a move to the 20, 15, 10, 5. He's into the end zone.
If it's the sport you care about, we're talking about it.
Number 4 of my best non-sports sports. Wife carrying.
I beg your pardon?
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Ajay Salvesen.
Because what you're really saying when you're using all this blabberish is, Ajay, you were right and I was wrong. That's what I'm hearing from you.
106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Good afternoon. Hello. Welcome on in to another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen with you here, and love to hear from you as well, getting your reactions to what happened over the weekend. And big things happening today, too. 435-339-0321 to chime in on the Guild Mortgage text line. We've got a Bolitnikoff semifinalist recognition for Devin Tompkins. Not recognized as the Offensive Player of the Week in the Mountain West, but it's hard to give the nudge to get that over Charles Williams, who ran for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. And there was some discussion, too, in our post-game call-in show on KVNU Saturday night, technically early Sunday morning. Would a Johnny Carter be considered as the Defensive Player of the Week? Well, he had a forced fumble. He had an interception. He had a sack. I mean, the guy was all over the place for Utah State. However, they gave it to Cameron Thomas at San Diego State. He had 10 season-high 10 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss. He had 3 sacks, forced a fumble. Again, that's kind of hard to unseat that. But still, there were some great performances on Saturday by the Utah State Aggies. Johnny Carter, as we mentioned. Devin Tompkins continues to impress week in and week out. Derek Wright had some incredible catches. Good to see Calvin Tyler Jr. out there running again. The run game for Utah State wasn't really working that great early on, but they stayed committed to trying it. And that was one of the keys from Friday, if you remember, that they needed to have some kind of a regular running attack. Now, it didn't gain a lot of yards early on, and really didn't gain a lot of yards overall. It was 147 total net rushing yards for Utah State, which is not necessarily going to blow the socks off of anybody, but they continued to go to it and continue to have that San Jose State defense aware that there was that potential. And I thought that there was some solid running that happened with not just Calvin Tyler Jr., but Noah and Makakona. I think it was kind of a mix of a couple different guys that continued to keep that San Jose State defense guessing. And that set up the play action and really helped with a lot of other things that Utah State wanted to do offensively. Just the floodgates just opened like we haven't seen in a while with 24 points in one quarter. Just absolutely incredible. So no individual honors from the Mountain West this week for Utah State players for football, but Devin Tompkins was recognized as a Bolitnikoff semifinalist down to the final 10 on the recognitions for the best receiver, I guess best pass catcher, because it's not just unique to wide receivers in college football, but certainly well-deserving of what he's doing there. And Tompkins, he's only 91 yards away from surpassing Kevin Curtis in the single-season record for Utah State in receptions and receiving yards. And he's easily going to get that. If not on Saturday against Wyoming, he'll get that the following week at New Mexico with the trajectory that he's on. So tremendous season so far for them. And we earlier heard Blake Anderson. We heard Philip Paya and Quazzo White praising Devin Tompkins and what they're doing offensively. But I think we need to give a lot of recognition, too, to what's going on defensively for Utah State and how well things are improving there, stopping the running attack of their opponents. So that's absolutely been a huge part of what they've been able to do and a huge part of their success here recently. Reminder, if you want to weigh in, love to hear your thoughts on our Guild Mortgage text line, 435-339-0321, 9952 weighing in. Happy to see Aggies cleaned up the penalties the last 3 games. Well, that's a great point, too. I think that's part of this evolution of this team, period. They just seem more focused and more dialed in, and a much cleaner style of what we're seeing out of this team. And Coach Anderson earlier today, the run defense has been great, but it's because the team is buying into what the coaches have been trying to teach them and help them with and understand for several months. And here's some of his comments earlier today about how that defense for Utah State has absolutely been improving.
There's a lot of factors that play in. Clearly, the guys are playing really well at this point. A lot of one-on-ones that we won in those areas, and there was a lot of different guys. You don't see one jersey number showing up. When I was going through and kind of cutting up the tape, it was Marcus one play, it was Phil one play, it was Holly one play, Byron, Justin Rice. Everybody got involved. Everybody made plays, and a lot of those even Kessie, young dude in there, made one of the biggest plays in the backfield for one of our tackles for loss. So I think it's been, technically we're getting better and better as guys just continue to improve at the drill work and the techniques that we work on every day. But schematically, I thought the defensive staff did a great job over the last few weeks of really playing to our strengths, attacking the fronts and the schemes that we're seeing, very specific details of what we want to get done in certain looks. And our guys have listened to the plan, prepared, and gone in and executed it real well. So a lot of people deserve credit. You gain confidence with making plays as well. I think there's a level of confidence right now that we can play against big body guys that are built well, as long as we use our quickness and speed and really, really good technique. They got out of the gate on us a couple times, but to be able to hold them, honestly, to the number that we did, I don't think any of us saw that coming.
Absolutely tremendous what Utah State was able to do defensively. And it's kind of funny to hear Coach Anderson say that we performed better than what we thought we would. Dialing up a game plan and not only executing it, but executing it beyond what your expectations were is always impressive. By the way, hello, John Russell stopping in. Hi, John.
Hey, good to be here.
Certainly, John is part of our broadcast crew for USU basketball, and we'll get to that big win on Saturday.
Great win.
Love to get your reactions to that coming up a little bit later on. But, John, this football team really making improvements defensively, and I don't know that I've seen anything drastically different in the scheme. I just think that we're seeing players making plays. I don't know if they're just understanding it better and putting themselves in the right position. They just seem like they've got more intent in how they're attacking the opponent.
Well, simple as it sounds. This is a football team that some teams peak in the first game or the second game, and this defense has just gotten better with every game. And San Jose State's not a bad football team. This is not a win to just kind of glance over and go, it's San Jose. It's not a big deal.
No, yeah. It's the reigning conference champions. They were favored to beat Utah State on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
This was on a lot of our calendars is this is going to be a really tough win to get for USU. Man, they just obliterated the Spartans.
Well, yeah, talking to a lot of fans, they, after the nice start, they were like, all right, one of the last games, which one could they lose? And it was, a lot of people thought it was going to be San Jose. And, they came out, I still worry. I guess I'm a, the glass is half empty kind of guy sometimes. But they did give up the early score. But in this case, they rebounded really well in the second half.
No, they rebounded in the second quarter.
Or second
big
quarter.
way.
Yeah.
A couple texts that have come through. This is from 2603. I've heard whispering that Coach Anderson may have interest from Washington State. Any credence to this? I said this last hour. Who wouldn't have interest in Blake Anderson right now?
Yeah.
If you've got a program that's had issues and you need to turn things around and succeed and establish credibility early on, why wouldn't you be looking at Blake Anderson?
Yeah. Where was this program picked in the preseason polls? I mean, you were talking that Utah State was lower half of the division.
Second from last in their division.
Yeah.
The bottom 3 overall.
So you turn around, you take a team like that, all sorts of uncertainty, a lot of questions, what was going on. Was the cupboard empty? But the thing is we miss Ajay. Ajay's not here today. But in his mind, what it would be is Sataki's going to Washington, and then Anderson's going down to BYU.
No.
Because we know how much he loves BYU.
No, Blake Anderson will not go to be the coach at BYU.
Now, this is how do you not vote for him as the coach of the year at this point? I mean, the things that he's done with this program. Of course, it's also nice that he was able to bring players that he was comfortable with, that he knows. The fact that Bonner came in here and he's produced as well as he is. Although, with all these endorsements, he needs to get one for, Band-Aid or somebody like that, because he just gets pummeled every game. I know. Band-Aid company, maybe some urgent cares. If you're out there, give him a call. That would be perfect.
Speaking of Ajay, you invoked his name. 1570 does as well. It's funny, Ajay made it sound like the Aggies had no chance against San Jose State. Aggies scored more points in the second quarter than San Jose did the entire game. That didn't age well. Oh, look, both Ajay and I picked Utah State to win, but we both thought it would be narrow margins. Both were off.
Well, I don't think anybody really, honestly, if you're sitting back, I knew they were going to win. No, you're lying. Sorry. I'm not buying into that. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a close game, and I really thought the way Utah State had been playing, a lot of confidence. For me personally, I didn't get a chance to call in or give you my score, but I thought my prediction was 31-27. And to me, what's even bigger is that they scored that many more points was the fact that they held San Jose to so few.
Yeah.
And, let's face it, it's, the media loves high-scoring, high-powered, high-octane offenses, but it's the defense that wins, and that's what did it this week.
Made a huge difference. 2603, referring to Blake Anderson, is his buyout at least $10 million? I don't know. I doubt it, but he's got a lot of years on his contract, so it would be more hefty than if he was in year 3 or 4 of a 5-year contract, even if there were a year extension in there. But after his first year, if the 5-year contract, I don't know what the buyout would be, but I don't think it's $10 million. But
I don't want buyouts. I want him to stick around.
I agree.
But you got to strike while the iron's hot, and yeah, he's going to be. It's hard to see this, but after 1 year, he's going to be at the top of all the lists. You go down, projections, possible options. He's going to be guy right there at the top.
Well, the thing is that there's going to be a domino effect that happens this year, right? Because USC is going to want somebody very notable. Probably a proven coach. So who is that? There's talk that they may be focusing their attention on Dave Aranda, with the success he's having at Baylor. So if he takes that, now there's an opening at Baylor. It's back in the South. Does that appeal to Blake Anderson to get back to the South? Is he happy being here in the West. Those are things that I don't know.
Yeah.
And the other thing is there a certain school or destination that's always been kind of his mecca that he always loved to be at, and all of a sudden if that opens up, it's hard to argue against taking that opportunity.
Well, there's a former coach here that went to Texas Tech, no longer is employed there, and financially he's doing fine. Nice fat buyout for him, and he'll get picked up. Some team will look at him as an OC, and it's an environment now where as a coach, why would you not go? Why would you not take that chance? And yeah, especially like you said, if you've got that dream job. If you grew up, a Texas Longhorn and that job comes open, which it may very well.
may become opening sooner rather than later.
we will have to get into that. But, yeah, I mean, you got to take advantage of that because what happens? You don't do well, you get fired, but they're going to pay you $5, $10, $15 million to let you go. And if you really are a brilliant mind, a good mind, Blake Anderson, this guy can coach. He's going to get another job. And so, take advantage of it while you can. By the way, I'm available. Any coach ADs out there, I'm willing to accept.
You're really good at video games.
I am the man.
5879. Hey, I knew they were going to win big.
No.
It's good. Good for you. Great to hear if those that had the confidence. I had confidence they'd win. I did not see that they would win by the margin. San Jose has not allowed anybody to score more than 30, 32 points on them all year.
Yeah. And they've played tough
some
all
good
year.
teams.
Yeah.
2197. As long as Blake Anderson doesn't tell us he doesn't like us, he loves us, we are fine.
That's great. I love that, yeah. Well, it's sad that we're already talking about that, though. I mean, right now, you go to Coach Anderson, he's going to be saying, "Hey, I'm focused on Wyoming," which is going to be a tough ball game. You're gonna chat about a lot of that the rest of the week, but yeah, don't be sleeping on two big games against Hawaii and San Jose, and New Mexico State they're a bad football team, and they made some plays, so
yes,
they got to get going.
It was a very favorable schedule for USU this year. By the way, Blake is getting a lot of attention, and deservedly so, for what he's done here, but it's also, you have to include the entire staff and what they've done and how they've moved this whole thing forward. And one of those guys getting some recognition just this afternoon, that's Kyle Cephalo. I mentioned the job he's doing. How does he not get some recognition for what's going on with the Utah State receivers? He's the passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach at Utah State, and everywhere this guy goes, his players get recognized and they perform at a very high level. And so today, just this afternoon, he has been announced as a nominee for the Broyles Award, and that goes to the top college football assistant coach. He's one of 59 nominees, and from about nearly 1,300 assistant coaches overall. So it's a recognition. That's an honor to be recognized as a nominee. But what he's doing with the Utah State receiving corps, the year that Devin Tompkins is having, Derek Wright, how he has emerged, Brandon Bowling is solid every week. We're leaving guys out. McGriff has really stepped forward and has been more of an impact player. Last year, we weren't sure where he was at, if he felt engaged or not, but he's turned into a weapon for Utah State. So Kyle Cephalo absolutely deserves the recognition and being a nominee for the Broyles Award, going to the top college football assistant coach.
So get this, I had a friend say, "Yeah, I don't think Tompkins had a big game on Sunday or Saturday," and I started to think about it. To have 5 catches for 130 yards and not have a big
what is the definition of a big game then?
I guess 200 yards is his standard now.
Your average yards per catch.
He didn't have a touchdown, though, so it did not. So, off day for 5 for 127. Come on.
A few more texts coming through. This is from 5253. I was worried we'd struggle to bounce back after a much easier opponent last week. Glad I was proven wrong. Yeah, true. I mean, they were a little lackadaisical at New Mexico State. It was kind of clear they didn't really want to be there or just overlooked them, and took them a minute to kick things into gear. But could have been easy to walk into San Jose thinking, we've got this in the bag, look how well we're playing. But this coaching staff is not letting this team have that attitude at all.
No, and I think that New Mexico State game was good. Just made them realize you can't just show up. We'll talk about this with the Aggies in basketball. You can't just show up and expect to win. But no, they are. You hear this as coach speak all the time. Oh, we're going to take 1 week at a time, and but the reality is, you're looking at your schedule and you're going, well, we got Samford, not Stanford, Samford. We've got these schools, and you think you're just gonna waltz through. And I think that was a little bit of what happened against New Mexico State. And I think Coach took advantage of that. I don't think there was a lot of yelling. It was just like, okay, guys, see what happens. That's what happens.
Yeah, that attitude and deliberate kind of approach in that third quarter coming out of halftime was very evident for Utah State in that game a few weeks ago. 9995 weighing in. Take out number 13. And is Blake Anderson looking so good?
You bet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look what Derek Wright's been doing. McGriff has emerged. You still have other wide receivers that they underutilize because you still have 13 is so good. I mean, if Devin Tompkins wasn't making the catches that he's doing and making the plays that he's making, other guys would be available for throws.
Yeah, would they make those plays? I'm not so sure, but they would still make
the
plays.
Same level. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's maybe not fair, but not to take away from Devin Tompkins.
Well, instead of it being 48-17 against San Jose, maybe it's 38-17 or 41. He's worth some points. I'm with that, but no, you just again, I go back to what I said there right at the beginning. This is a team that didn't come out and have a great game against Washington State, and then just kind of lollygag through the rest of the year and not give. They've gotten better every game.
They have. Absolutely. And last week may have been their most complete game outside of the early turnovers. Offensively and defensively, really, really solid.
Were you nervous at all after those first quarter turnovers? How did you feel?
I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was nervous, but I didn't. I wasn't concerned. I mean, we've seen this team so many times rebound from being down double digits. I knew they weren't out of it, and it was early in the game.
Yeah.
But had me a little bit alarmed. Like, that's a rough way to start. How's this game going to play out? San Jose's not a bad team, but I felt that Utah State would still have plenty of time to recover from it. But I'll be lying if I didn't say I was a little bit nervous.
I was frustrated. I'm like, come on, guys, let's not play this game anymore. Where we go down and have to come back. But I don't know. After all this season, the things that have happened, I was kind of like, all right, here we go again. Go out and make some more popcorn, and all right, we'll see what happens. How are they going to come back? And they did.
They did. 5879, does Coach A's decision hinge on how much his staff can get paid somewhere else?
See, that's a big, yeah.
Does he decide to stay if he knows his entire staff gets purged?
Yeah.
That would be tough. Does he decide to stay if half of his staff stays? Does he decide to stay if, how many of his staff leave? How much of that does that play on whether he stays or not? That's a really good question.
And why are they leaving? I mean, if somebody gets a shot at a head coaching position, really nothing you can do about that. There's only one head coach. But when it comes down to if they get poached by bigger programs that have bigger budgets, yeah, it's something to look at.
4875, to ask if Blake Anderson will look as good without number 13 is a myopic comment, in my opinion. Last year's team was playing with number 13 too. We know how that went. Fair point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this offense is, it's a whole different offense. Of course, it's hard to compare last year. I mean, you look at
there
were so many distractions and issues. So, but it's come together. It's come together as a team, and they've, they just look more comfortable. Every drive is a little different. Every situation is different. I heard you talking about the running game. Too often we think about, your running game is not successful unless every running back breaks off a 80-yard touchdown run, or a 45-yard run. The running game has been solid. It's done what we needed it to do. It keeps the other defenses off, the defense honest, and they have no choice. They've got to respect it, because they know if they don't and back off and try and cover 13, cover McGriff, cover the other guys, then your running back does have the ability to go 20, 25, 35 yards.
Real quick, want to get a comment from Quazell White about Utah State being able to do as well as they've been able to do, especially on the road at San Jose, which has a good defense, as we've noted. They're the reigning champs, and some of his comments earlier today.
First off, we couldn't have done that without defense. The way that the defense played throughout the whole entire game was amazing from start to finish. It gave us great field position, or excellent field position. Just you couldn't ask for it any better. And from then on, we just had to do our part. As you can see, we were down 14-0 at one point, but defense held our backs and kept us in the game as much as we could. And once we finally got on pace, then we did what we do.
Yeah, that offense is playing great, but good to give that credit to the defense, and the short fields that they gave them and great field position played a huge role.
I think another thing that's so huge in that is just offensively, don't you think that the coordinators are willing to take chances? Because they know that if it doesn't work out, they've got a defense that can step up.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That opens – I mean, we talk about all the fourth down attempts. That has – well, it has a little bit to do with the offense, but it really comes down to, hey, I know if we don't get it, the defense is going to step up. We'll get it right back.
We can roll the dice here because we know the defense has our back. Quick timeout here in the Full Court Press. Love to continue to get your thoughts and reactions to what happened over the weekend with Utah State football and basketball. We got a recognition in basketball. Didn't get a conference recognition for football, but it did come through in basketball. We'll update you on that coming up on the other side here on the Full Court Press.
Need some ideas for holiday shopping this year? Pick up a free copy of the Best of Northern Utah magazine. You'll find nearly 200 categories of the businesses voted the best in Northern Utah. Everything from sporting goods to jewelry, boutique shops, and restaurants. Best of all, these are local businesses that pay local taxes and employ local residents, your family members and neighbors. So let's help each other out and shop local this holiday season. For magazine locations, go to bestofnorthernutah.com.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join. I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture. It helped me get my job, it helped me pay for my house.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Utah Army National Guard. Aired by the Utah Broadcasters Association and this station.
We're right in the middle of holiday season. Most of our focus is on family and friends, as it should be. But don't forget your vehicles during the cold winter months. At Valvoline Oil Change will make it easy on you to get an oil change, have your vehicle's fluids checked, and if needed, check emissions and renew your registration. All while you sit in your warm car. It doesn't get much easier than that. Valvoline Oil Change, 695 North Main, across from Angie's.
Renegade Sports of Logan and Centerville has everything you need for the perfect holiday. Renegade has Utah's largest supply of side-by-sides, four-wheelers, motorcycles, and more. Ski-Doo and Polaris snowmobiles with every rebate and finance option available, including 0% financing OAC. A huge selection of Climb winter gear for the entire family. Get there today for the best selection. Lead or follow, you decide the ride at the Renegade Sports Park on South Main Logan and Renegade Sports Centerville.
This is Dave Simmons for Less
Les Olson Company. It's first and goal on the 10-yard line. Your team is poised to make the play of a lifetime. Your quarterback hands off to the running back who rushes right into a wall. Now the away team says they'll take the wall out of your way, but only after you hand them a suitcase full of cash. That's exactly how ransomware works. In 2020, half of all organizations were victims of a ransomware attack. Don't take risks. Take action with the Les Olson Security Suite. Get your free network assessment at lesolson.com.
The Aggies are number one here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Although I wasn't here last season, just being around the atmosphere of these guys, it's a great feeling right now to be 8-2, and we really didn't expect much coming into the season. Like I said, we just knew what we were capable of, and we had a level head coming into the season. And I feel like we really just stayed low and just came out to surprise everyone this season.
That's Philip Paya making some comments earlier today on the season Utah State has put together so far and making it work. I mean, the question was posed that he came from Michigan, who had a successful program, and the expectations coming here that following a season that was really, frankly, bad, really bad. Yeah. And it's just how it's flipped. And it's worked out really well for him and the rest of the Aggies here.
Thing I get a little giddy just sitting there is, we're 8-2. What? Wait, are you sure you got that right? We're 8-2. And really, when you look at the games that Utah State lost, I don't think we got beaten. I think we beat ourselves. Definitely against Boise. I think that's a game that you go back and you look at it, and if a few things hadn't happened, I think we're in the game and even winning it.
Agreed.
And then the
BYU,
maybe I'll pull back on that one. But you're looking at the team that's number 14 in the country. So it's not like, it was a bad loss where we just kind of got manhandled and shouldn't have. You lost to a better team. Sometimes that's going to happen. But, yeah, that Boise game may have been the key to the season, because it may have been like, we can play. We can come out. We can compete with everybody anytime, anywhere.
If we do it right.
And if we do it right, we win.
We win. Yeah, good point. 5452 on our Guild Mortgage text line. I do not know where the money will come from, but is there any chance they reward Blake and staff for their incredible season and help them decide to stay? Good question. I know there are bonuses that happen with a head coach's salary when you reach certain milestones, and I believe becoming bowl eligible is a bonus clause that gets enacted at Utah State for Blake Anderson. Going to a bowl game, winning a conference championship, I think those are additional bonus opportunities for the head coach. How that trickles down to assistants and other staff, I don't know. That may be more of the coach's discretion if he uses that to reward them or keep it for himself. I don't know. Or if they have anything individually in their own contracts, I don't know. Can't speak to that.
It's hard to compete with it, though. Rolovich for Washington State, $3 million a year. And here was a guy, good reputation, but they lost Mike Leach. Mike Leach was making almost $4 million a year. I love Mike Leach. I watched.
He had a big win over the weekend.
Yes, he did. But how do you compete? I mean, let's say we can get the salary up to 2 million a year. That's an extra, that's a 50% salary increase. You've got bigger, better facilities, a bigger stage, bigger spotlight. Man, that's tough.
It is tough.
That's tough. We got spoiled with Stu. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And this was a little before my time up here. But, you were here when there were, people were Washington State. Weren't they looking at him?
Yes. Utah looked at him. BYU looked at him.
That doesn't happen. People don't, most coaches look for that opportunity to take that next step. I think it was Larry Brown, the NBA coach, said it's no matter how good things get, you always sit back and go, can I take that program and change it? Can I go from pro to college and be successful and back? Can I take that historically bad program? Obviously, paraphrasing here, taking tremendous liberties. But, that's the thing is that, like I think you hit it on. If there's a dream job, if he always wanted to coach at Auburn and Auburn opens up, sayonara, he's gone. But you've got to look at him and go, that program, yeah, they had a bad season, but I like what they've got. I can turn them around. It's an ego thing. They like to do it, and he's done a great job here.
9995 with a couple texts. Having one of the best receivers in the league is not a myopic view. It rubs off on other players. Coaches are not making the catches, getting the extra yards. Confidence begets confidence. And by all accounts, 13 is going pro. So, yeah, not myopic.
Good point.
It's a fair point.
It's a good point. But, the players are going to do it. But you want coaches, I don't want to badmouth anybody. But, again, a previous coach here that left and came back.
Kind of narrows the field a little.
Different guy.
He was very different.
Very different guy. And the first stint, very fired up. And that's, I've told the story. I ran into him at a local grocery store when he got hired. And after talking to him for about 30 seconds, I was ready to take out a bag boy. Just spear him and take him down. Prevent that extra bag. I was ready to go. And then ran into him after the fact. And a different guy, but wasn't as fired up. I think that's what Coach Anderson does here. He comes in, he's fired up, he's ready to go.
Yeah, I agree. But also to say, would he have the same success right now if he hadn't been able to keep Devin Tompkins out of the transfer portal? Would they be 8-2 instead of maybe 7-3? I don't know. But Devin Tompkins absolutely is helping Utah State with these victories. Would they be able to win without him? I kind of think they would.
I agree.
To same degree. I don't know. That's a good debate, and I think that might take something away from Devin Tompkins. But it's overall, you look at how things are developing offensively and defensively. It's impressive.
There's another conversation that we weren't involved in, which I'd be interested. What convinced Devin Tompkins to not enter the transfer portal? Something happened. There was a conversation. There was a meeting. There was something that Tompkins liked that made him go, you know what, I'm going to stick around. I think something good's going to happen here.
Good point. 3331, let's keep our AD. Certainly he's made a lot of great hires recently. It certainly helped his resume tremendously.
Got a good track record.
Yeah.
Things have gone well.
We need to take another quick timeout on the Full Court Press. When we come back, I should say, let's shift and talk about basketball. Big win on Friday. You saw it. You reacted to it on KVNU Aggie call afterwards, and some recognition this week because of that performance, especially on Friday. He played well on Tuesday also, but especially getting the recognition for what he did on Friday. We'll discuss that and talk basketball. Talk some hoops coming up on the other side. You're on the Full Court Press.
The Elements Restaurant is serving a plated Thanksgiving dinner this year with all the holiday classics. Herb roasted turkey breast with a sage turkey gravy, garlic whipped potatoes, and whipped sweet potatoes, traditional cornbread stuffing, and delicious warm rolls. And for dessert, choose between pumpkin pie, pecan pie, or apple pie galette. Let the Elements serve your family a delicious Thanksgiving feast while you spend the day enjoying family and friends. Primetime fills up quickly. Reserve online today at theelementsrestaurant.com or call 750-5171.
Cache Valley is absolutely beautiful. It's always fun to be outdoors. Winter is the perfect time to let the allergy clinic inside the Cache Valley Hospital and now in Providence help you with venom testing for next spring and summer. The allergy clinic offers testing and treatment to life-threatening stings from honeybees, yellow jackets, white-faced hornets, yellow hornets, and wasps. Independent physicians Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette offer Cache Valley a full-time allergy clinic in 2 locations, Providence and inside the Cache Valley Hospital. The allergy clinic accepts most insurance, including SelectMed. Call the allergy clinic at 753-7880. That's 753-7880. 880.
West Liberty Foods in Tremonton is hiring for general production on both shifts, starting at $15.85 per hour, with a shift premium added for second shift. Machine operators on first shift start at $16.65 per hour. 12-hour rotating 2-2-3 schedule, which means a 3-day weekend every other week. West Liberty Foods offers paid vacations, 401k, medical, dental, and vision insurance. You can also try their new Pick Any 3 Days for a part-time schedule. Call 435-207-7000 to speak with a recruiter today.
Hi, this is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. As a thank you for your trust and support since we opened our doors 1 year ago, we are excited to host a holiday service featuring a Jay Richards ensemble. We extend a special invite to anyone who is missing a loved one as they celebrate this holiday season. All are invited to attend on Thursday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. with refreshments to follow. Please give us a call or visit whitepinefunerals.com for more information.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
Not sure what to do for Thanksgiving dinner? Does the thought of that mess turn you off? Then call the Beehive Pub and Grill. They have an amazing family-style Thanksgiving meal ready to go. Just order by Friday, November 19th by 5 p.m. Pick up on November 24th between noon and 6. Heat and serve. That's it. A full Thanksgiving meal with all the normal fixins without the hassle. Prices will vary. Order for 2 or get meals for 6. Call for details. Beehive Pub and Grill, Logan.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Thanks for checking back in on the Mountain West Network studio. I'm Jesse Kurtz. The Mountain West men's basketball season is off to a terrific start, and it's time to reveal the first Player of the Week. Justin Bean from Utah State is honored as the Player of the Week after averaging a double-double with 23 points and 13 rebounds per game while shooting 61.5% from the floor over 2 games against Richmond and UC Davis. The Aggies senior forward scored a career-high 30 points in a win over the Spiders.
That was a big win for Utah State, and certainly that doesn't happen without the play of Justin Bean.
Yeah, if there was anybody that deserved that, he was the guy. I didn't catch it. Did they mention the career high?
Career
points,
high, yes.
Double-double, just absolutely dominating. There's a little something freaky about him. Well, there's a lot of things freaky about him. But it's like watching that game, he would all of a sudden just be there with the ball. And it was like, where did he come from? How did he do that? And he was the difference maker, and just phenomenal game, 30 and 14. I think one of the things that you've got to look at, which is even more amazing, is not only does he score and rebound and do that, 1 turnover against Richmond, and I think in UC Davis he only had a couple, 1 or 2, and so he had 2 against UC Davis. He's just so smart and plays with such energy. Good things are bound to happen.
Yeah, we're talking off the air. His superpower is that he stays active.
Yeah.
And just because of that activity, he always finds himself in the right position at the right time.
So kids, if you're listening out there, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And there's somebody, I think it was in this game, compared him to Dennis Rodman. And at first you kind of cringe, Dennis Rodman, he's a nut job. But really when you watch him in the court, he was brilliant. There was a reason he got so many rebounds, and some of it was mind games. Yeah, sometimes he'd get on people. But for the most part, if you really watched him, he looked for angles. He looked for shot release points. He looked for angles and how was that ball going to bounce off the rim, and he was there. And I think that's one thing Justin Bean's got going for him is he has the hustle and he's on the ground all the time. But I think he's so smart recognizing, okay, where's that shot coming from? Where is it likely to bounce off, and where do I need to be to get it? And yeah, 13 and 14 rebounds, I think he's doing something right.
The other thing that is impressive to me is not just his activity level, but how he's continuing to work on his outside shot. Yeah. 3 for 4 from beyond the arc.
Yeah.
And that's the next step he needs to take if he wants to play at the next level.
And it's not 3 for 4 where he's sitting there like, well, should I shoot it? They're not guarding me. He's looking for that shot, and that's what I love most about it. If you remember him in the last couple of years, he didn't look for a shot. He didn't, necessarily want to take it. He wanted to pawn it off to somebody else, let them do it. And not this time. I think it was early in the Davis game he took an early 3, and it was just in the flow. He just got it, released it, buried it.
Much of his offense was just on being at the right place at the right time with putbacks. There wasn't a lot of designed offense running through him under Coach Smith, at least not in the early going. Maybe there was more last year. There were some designed plays for Justin, but still, even then, not a heck of a whole lot. But he's more intentional in how he is part of the offense under Coach Odom, and deservedly so. I mean, he's deserved to earn that opportunity.
He's such a good dude. I mean, you just
there's
want
that too.
You just want to go pat him on the back and go to way to go. I think one of the things you have to look at, he's 2 games, he's had 5 offensive rebounds in each game. And I think we look at the overall number and you go, well, you got 13, that's impressive. 14, that's impressive. But those 5 per game are opportunities for the Aggies to get some points that they might not have otherwise gotten.
Yeah, absolutely. So, great recognition. He was recognized as a Mountain West Conference Player of the Week, despite losing their first game on Tuesday. Tremendous performance on Friday in a big one for Utah State and really for the Mountain West Conference. In the rankings, Colorado State is receiving votes in the top 25 college basketball poll. They are receiving, I had it now, 15 votes. And right now the only Mountain West school to be receiving votes, San Diego State losing at BYU last week, so that didn't help the conference much. But Fresno State, Colorado State, the only Mountain West Conference school receiving votes. At least this is in the AP. The coaches poll has not yet been released.
No, it's not, and that's all right. I think this is a conference that's going to be kind of dangerous in that. I don't think there's a team that's head and shoulders above everybody else, but I think they're all going to be very competitive. In years past, we've had some road trips where you've been like, okay, here's a trip we're going to be okay. We can kind of, take it easy a little bit, and you don't have to play our best ball. I think this year they're going to have to be there every night, ready to go. Otherwise, you could get smoked any night.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think there's a lot of parity. I think there's a lot of really good basketball, especially at the top of the league, with a lot of great coaches in this league. Now, Utah State stayed in Annapolis for a few days. They're on their way now to the Myrtle Beach area for this basketball tournament. They play Penn. What is it, on Thursday?
Thursday, 12:30 our time.
So an early tip-off, and then depending on how well they do there, will determine who they play next. It'll either be Davidson or
New Mexico State.
Okay, that's
Which
right.
would be kind of interesting, rehashing it with some old whack foes and see how that goes. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of people taking some late lunches come Thursday. So any business owner out there, just get ready to recognize people aren't going to show. Now, it's a great opportunity for Utah State to see teams that play a different kind of ball. Richmond definitely plays a different kind of ball and got to see how they were going to respond to that. Penn is going to be, very kind of slow and monotonous in what they do. They don't, they're not like Princeton, but they're going to slow it down. And then Davidson or New Mexico State, that's going to be a battle.
Those are good teams to draw. I think it's the teams in that tournament are solid teams.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all neutral site, which could help Utah State in the net. To be considered a quad one win for these games, they would need to be considered a top 50 team. I don't know how many of those are going to be considered top 50 because it's in a neutral site, but it could be a solid quad 2 win for sure.
Well, I think going into the game, Richmond was considered a quad one win at the time. Well, we'll have to see what happens to them the rest of the year. You now become a UC Davis fan. You now become a Richmond fan. that helps us.
Big West has picked up quite a few wins early on in the basketball season, kind of surprising wins. So Big West playing some pretty good basketball early on. Another quick timeout here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, Utah Jazz in a bit of a funk, losing 4 out of their last 5. What's the problem, and what's the answer? Is it just they don't have Rudy Gay? They don't have a full complement of players? Could that be? Is he going to solve all problems? Kind of doubt that, but we'll get your thoughts on that as well on our Guild Mortgage text line, 435-339-0321, here on the Full Court Press.
It's that first kiss, that moment in time.
This is Jarek from Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Everyone knows us as an engagement ring store, but not everyone knows about everything else we do. Custom design, our in-house laser jewelry repair. We offer fashion jewelry, charm bracelets, necklaces, earrings, birthstone jewelry, watches. We love people to just look and make a wish list. Stop in and say hi.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
The holidays bring family, friends, and parties and more. How important is it to you to know that your house is sparkling clean this holiday season? Trust ChemDry of Northern Utah's hot carbonated extraction process to ensure your home is the cleanest, healthiest environment for your family gatherings this season. From carpets to hardwood floors to furniture and even granite countertops for baking. This is Daryl with Northern Utah ChemDry. Call us for some amazing holiday deals and happy Thanksgiving.
ChemDry of Northern Utah. ChemDry of Northern Utah. 435-752-6100.
Old McDarrell has a farm and appliance farm.
With down home country prices and big city selection.
E-I-E-I-O. When you're looking for a friendly spot to drive a little and save a lot, hey, Old McDarrell has a farm. An appliance farm. No overhead, but lots of country charm. See Darrell's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
Well, what shall we talk about?
You're listening to the Doug Gottlieb Show.
Brave by definition is ready to face and endure danger. Native American Indian warrior, endure or face without showing fear. In an effort to be sensitive towards other cultures, we actually kind of eliminate some of the championing of the culture.
The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. It's the Full Court Press. Weekday afternoons from 4 to 6 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Eric Frandsen, John Russell here on the Full Court Press, 6211. John Russell is my co-host tonight, filling in. You can hear John on our KVNU Aggie Call coverage of Utah State men's basketball.
With Mr. Al Lewis.
Yes. And Jalen Moore.
Yeah. He looks at the game with such a different perspective, and it's always great to listen to him. You know, you would expect it, but to sit there and listen to the way he picks apart a game, it's worth listening just for that.
It'll be an early afternoon.
Yeah, 12:30.
Aggie Call for you guys on Thursday, and then depending on how that goes, we'll determine when the next game happens on Friday, and then the last game is on Sunday.
Yes,
it's a Thursday, Friday, Sunday bracket. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So as the week goes on, we'll continue to update on what's going on there, who's playing whom and where and all that stuff. So we'll keep you up to date on all that. Utah Jazz, just as we kind of wrap up the show here, John, losers of 4 of their last 5. They haven't had Rudy Gay available to them yet. Are concerned about this Jazz team and how where they're at this point of the season, or just not too concerned just yet?
No. I'm not too concerned at this point. I think it's still early enough that they're trying to figure out some things, and you know, we've learned that they're not a good fighting team. They need to work on their boxing skills and try and do that. I think the hardest part is they need to figure out who they want to be, and then run with it, whether it's going to work or not. You know, I think a lot of pressure for them to put more points on the board. Well, that's fine, but if your defense is going to suffer because of that, and the other team's still putting more points on the board, it becomes a wash. Rudy Gay is going to be huge, and yeah. So going back to what you said, they've lost the games. However, they're still 8-5. It's not like they started off 1-10. They're not the Houston Rockets, so it could be much
perspective.
Worse.
Yes, that's true. Listening to David Locke call game here recently, that so this team in years past, they would often find the weakest defender on the opposing team and just go at him.
Yeah.
And try to do switches to get him isolated to go after him. But they've made the conscious decision not to do that this year, play more of a team concept, because that hurt them in the playoffs. And that may be part of what's going on here, is just trying to adapt to this new concept that we got to hold to this and we'll get it. It's just got some growing pains right now.
Well, there's where your coaching comes into play. If they've got the right game plan, it'll come together. You just can't, I know our show tonight is not as lively without Ajay here. It makes more sense than when Ajay's here. But, it doesn't flow, it just takes some time. And I think, the games that they're losing are against teams that aren't that bad. The Magic loss was kind of bad, but they lost to the Heat twice. Not a bad basketball team. Pacers can be good. I'm not sweating it now.
It's early in the season. Look, if this trend continues, then yes, it is a big problem. But Coach Quinn Snyder is trying to get his team positioned to win in the playoffs. And I'd rather they work out those kinks now than in April or May when it's too late.
Yeah.
So
well, it's great to have, home court, but